If you buy a new car and you don't keep it at least 9 to 10 years, leasing's better. Find out why here in a second. All right, so I know it's kind of controversial as far as buying versus leasing. A lot of people don't completely understand leasing. So I'm going to give a couple disclaimers right off the bat. I mean, this is for people that don't drive, 20, 30,000 miles a year. It's from, if you drive 10 to 15,000 miles a year, leasing's okay. And then also, you have to buy a certain type of car. Usually it's going to be something like a Honda Accord, a Volkswagen Passat maybe, a Toyota Camry, those type of cars. They have high residual values when you lease them, so you can get a good lease payment on them. Sometimes you get an American car that's actually going to be worth $25,000. That's going to lease for $400 or $500 a month, and you're going to lease the exact same Volkswagen Passat for $250 a month. Cars work the same as far as what you bought it for, but the leasing is just completely different. So those are disclaimers right off the bat. I mean, you have to follow some of these techniques. You can't go out and buy a $100,000 Mercedes and expect this to work. I mean, people do lease those usually, I think like 75% or 80% of people lease those expensive cars, but those are for more finance reasons and for putting that money into investments. All right, so one of the reasons why it's better to lease than buy, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video as well, but the three reasons are when you lease with this model that I'm going to show you, you're going to get 3 new cars in 10 years, 9 or 10 years, versus just having the same old car. You're not going to pay any maintenance on those cars, and you're going to be paying about the same amount of money. So basically what you're saying is if after 9 to 10 years, if you could put out the exact same amount of money as buying 1 car versus leasing 3 cars, not having any maintenance, having brand new cars, having the newest safety features on each car, and being able to have variety in cars, always having a new car, that's where leasing is better. And granted, a lot of people say that's not possible, but I'm going to show you right now how it is. And it depends on the car you buy and some factors like that, but it definitely is possible. Just promise me one thing, everyone. I understand, I'm going to put up numbers, and people are going to get on the comments and start arguing about the numbers. I mean, obviously, sales tax can differ, the residual value of the car can differ, your taxes and fees can differ in different states and things like that. I mean, this is a general kind of a math formula, so I mean, obviously, take it with a grain of salt. Plug your own numbers in if you want to, and you can go ahead and figure all that stuff out. All right, so now we're going to break down the numbers, so stay with me here. So this is the first example for buying a car. If you buy a car, let's say it's a $25,000 car, see right here, what you want to do basically to get, this is again basic math, things can change, interest rates can change, but just use this for a basic example. So here we go. You maybe add about $400 for fees, license fees, new license plates, things like that. It's probably going to be more for some other things, maybe $600, but I'm just going to use a low number right here. That's number 2. Then we would add about $1,778 for sales tax, and that's going to be basically at a 7% sales tax on this car here. So just obviously your tax rate can change, but that's what I have in my location. Then we want to subtract a $2,000 down payment here, and it's going to give you around a $25,178 finance charge. So this is what you're going to be financing. Again, just to break that down, $25,000 for the car. You're going to be adding $400 for your fees, $1,778 for sales tax. Subtract $2,000 for a down payment because you're not going to be financing what you actually put money down on. And then basically your final, finance value of the car you're going to be financing is $25,178. So right here, if we look at this, so number 6 here, if you add, over the course of this financing this car, we're going to finance this for 5 years. So add $29.86 interest over 5 years at 4.5%. So you're going to be paying this much interest over the 5 years to finance the car to take a loan out. So ultimately, you're going to be spending $28,164 that you're actually going to be paying for the car. And again, we're using the example if you keep a car over 10 years. So over 10 years, you would have paid this much for the car, but there's also some other things you would want to, you'd be paying for as well. And I'm going to be pretty lenient on this. I mean, this is 10 years, let's say 9 or 10 years, that you would be keeping this car. So if you keep the car for 9 or 10 years, I'm just going to say maybe you have 2 tire changes and once every 5 years. That's $500 each. It could be a lot more than that, but let's just say $1,000 total. And then I actually have $3,000 for maintenance. That's about $300 a year, and that's going to basically, major things can happen when a car gets 8, 9, 10 years old, somewhere in that range. So again, I'm being kind of middle road here. It can, it could cost you $8,000 for all we know, but I'm going to use $3,000. So if we do this, and this is over 10 years, so at the end of 10 years, you would have paid $32,164 for the car if you were to buy it. And again, that's going to be over 9 to 10 years, and it's going to basically give you a final value. This is going to change, obviously, because of a lot of factors, but that's what you'd basically pay, on a $25,000 car if you kind of take all this other stuff into account. Now I'm going to show you what you're going to get when you lease 3 different cars over that same period, and show you, where the money comes out and see which is better. All right, now let's look at the leasing side. You'll be pretty surprised with this, so keep this in mind. Things are going to be a little bit different for everyone, but just I'm making some assumptions here as well, but just watch this. So leasing a car for $25,000, I've actually done this. I've actually had a number of cars I've leased. In fact, I've had 20 cars so far, so I'm pretty good with the numbers here. I mean, I know I can get a Honda Accord or a Passat or a Toyota Camry for around this cost. So again, things will be different depending on your situation. But anyways, for a $25,000 car, let's make this a Passat, a Volkswagen Passat. For 3 years, I can usually get it for about $500 down and a payment of $289 a month. We're not going to worry about all the other stuff like residual values and stuff. That's maybe for another video. So go ahead, and this is the payment that, let's say, I would negotiate for the car here. So if I had $500 down plus 36 months, which is the lease, times $289, it's a total of $10,904 for the 3 years. So I'm going to be spending $10,904 for 3 years for leasing that car. So at the end of those 3 years, I can go ahead and return that car and get a brand new car. So cost for leasing the car for 3 years is going to be down here. So assume we got similar deals on 2 more cars. So let's say after 3 years, I went out and I bought maybe a Toyota or a Honda or, maybe even a low-end Acura or something like that that's got a high residual value, and I got the same type of deal just for math purposes. So after 3 years, I'm paying $10,904. After another 3 years, $10,904. And after the next 3 years, $10,904. It equals $32,712. So after 9 years, basically, you had 3 different cars. And again, these cars are coming with all those safety features, that I talked about before, which means, safety features, just technical features, no maintenance, not breaking down on the highway, never having to change tires all your time. So basically, after 9 years, it's a great thing if you do the math on it. So what I showed you before was basically it was to cost to buy that car over 9 or 10. Well, I think we used 10 years, 9 years. It was $32,164. So basically, there you go. And then the cost to lease 3 completely new cars. So you have a new car every 3 years. $32,712. So the question is it really worth the $500 difference? Is it worth it for your safety, for the features, for not having to deal with tire changes and everything else and all the emissions things and everything that goes with it? Now, granted, that car after 9 or 10 years that you bought is going to have a little bit of value, and depending on what you bought, it might be a couple $1,000s. So this is not exactly going to work out exactly perfect. But then again, you may also break down and have a $5,000 maintenance thing or something like that, or you may have to change the tires 3 or 4 times. So those are things you have to consider as well. So I'm kind of just using this obviously as kind of rough numbers, but looking at this, you can see exactly why I say lease a car for if you fall into the miles, you don't use it 20,000 miles a year, you're below 15,000. Go ahead and lease that car, get 3 new cars, and get all the features that come with it. All right, thanks for staying with me through the whole thing, and I hope everyone learned something from this. So basically, if you're going to buy a brand new car and you're not going to keep it for at least 10 years, it really makes sense to lease 3 different cars if you fall within those miles and those type of cars that you really want. Because you're going to get the new cars, obviously, and you're going to have basically zero maintenance. It's covered, your car is fully covered. Sometimes you get hit with $2,000 maintenance things that pop up after 10 years or 8 years when you own a car. You won't have any of that when leasing. And then you're going to have the safety features, and those are things that come out every couple of years, and you're going to have those, instead of having a 10-year-old car 10 years from now, you're going to have a brand new car. It's going to maybe save your life. So those are things that I kind of recommend, even if it doesn't come out exactly. Maybe it's a couple $1,000s difference because you can sell the old one for a couple grand. Is it worth your life? Is it worth the safety features? Is it worth having, an automatic phone system in your car versus having to dial the phone? I mean, those are things you got to think about. So, what is the new technology coming out in 10 years? It's going to probably be a lot more stuff. So, things like that matter, and just keep those type of things in mind when you're actually going out and looking for a car. All right, thanks again for watching, and just really quickly, my channel is about tech and money. This is the money portion, how to save money, how to invest in various things like leasing cars, buying cars. I also do the tech reviews, which you'll see. Anyways, if everyone can give me the thumbs up and actually click the subscribe button, it's going to help me just because I'm trying to get up to the 1,000 subscriber list. I only have, I think under 100 right now, and I'm doing a lot of videos. So just want to be able to continue doing this. So, help me out, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next week.